This is K-Pop Sunday, brought to you by K-Pop Sunbae before you have to go back to work on Monday. We are your hosts, Onyx,
Min,
and JR.
Welcome to episode 28. November is coming to an end. Advent has just begun, if that is your thing, and if it's not, it's just another Sunday. But we are in the dark times of the year, so today we're gonna be talking about a not really dark topic, but it's close enough. We're talking about some of our favorite songs that most people don't like, but we like them. And by most people, we mean not everybody, like a good chunk of K-pop fans don't necessarily love these songs, but a lot of them do. But a lot of them also very vocally don't like these songs. Does it really matter? Probably not. Music is music. Listen to the music you like no matter what anybody thinks. Onyx, what is a song you really like that a lot of people didn't like when it came out?
So my first one I want to talk about is LPG's song Angry, which came out in 2011. Here's why it's unpopular. There was a time in the late, I was about to say hundreds, that's not the correct word, the late 2000s, early 2010s, where there were a lot of overly sexy girl groups who the public mocked for being that way. Usually they were from small companies, and when they didn't do well initially, the group members would be swapped out and or have a lot of plastic surgery, which was talked about publicly as though it would drive people to the group. And LPG is probably one of the most notorious groups for this. I remember when Doorbell Love came out, they kept bragging of like how many surgeries each like the group got as like a total, and it was a very alarming amount of that. It's like, oh yeah, they all went and got surgery. Like they were trying to get people to be shocked to come listen to their music, but then it kind of backfired. So this track in particular is based off of Yolanda Be Cool and D-Coop's song We Speak No Americano, which like that is a fun track by itself, and I do like it. But LPG got in trouble because they added vocals over the instrumental, and it was not wanted. The repetitive dancing and absurdly sexy music video really didn't help. So it's one of their more publicly mocked tracks. But the reason why I like it, even though a lot of people dislike it, is that I love the timing of it. In the few live performances that they did for it, the way the dance moved matched up with every beat precisely is so satisfying to watch. Clearly, they practice a lot and are good dancers/singers. They can also hold their own on stage, in my opinion. They've got pretty good stage presence. But yeah, their company was not doing them any favors. Just trying to see like how outrageous can we get. And I feel like a lot of people kind of didn't really appreciate the idols because of that, which that's the same thing for the original Rania lineup, where the company was basically hoping that outrage would get people to come and be interested. If you haven't heard their song Dr. Feelgood, it's very sexy and a lot of people dislike it because of that. But I always thought the vocals were great. Like it was very impressive.
So good.
Yeah, I love it. But this one, though, I feel like gets a lot of heat. Rarely do I see people even say, oh, it's my guilty pleasure. People are just like, this is awful. Why does this exist? Korean and international fans both agree, especially at the time.
Then you have me. I also do personally love this song, but I remember when We Know Speak Americano came out, which obviously was before Angry, but it was We Know Speak Americano, at least over here, it was on TV and radio so much at the time. Like, it was one of those, like, summer songs that was just played on repeat. So I remember when I found Angry, that I was just kind of tired of it, even though it had probably been, like, a year or something. I don't remember how long after it came out.
Yeah, it was a year.
Oh. I'm good at guessing. But yeah, I remember not really paying it too much attention back then. I also wasn't super deep into K-pop in the way that I am now back then. But yeah, I really like it. I love the girl with red hair, like almost pixie cut length.
She stood out to me too.
She's the standout.
Yeah.
She's great. I don't know who she is, but she's great.
Yeah, she was one of those that got a lot of heat for Doorbell of Love because Okay, so the short pixie cut red hair, she was had like a bob haircut for Doorbell Love, and she was like in the scene where like she was making out with a guy, and like it was supposed to be very like over the top sexy, and like showed off like her tattoos on her back, and like he was like moving like a strap down her shoulder and stuff. She was one of those that got targeted for, wow, that's a lot of plastic surgery she got. Like a lot of people were very cruel.
Oh,
Honestly,
she's so pretty
yeah,
though.
it didn't feel like I didn't look at them and be like, wow, they have had so much work done at all. I wouldn't have even thought of it until you mentioned that they had gotten so much work done. I don't know, it looked natural, I guess.
I didn't really notice it so much in this music video as in Doorbell.
Yeah.
Doorbell was like, I think part of it was that the company kept pressing as to how much they got. And it kept going on and on to where like that was like the focal point in the music video. It was like, this is overly the top sexy, and look at how much plastic surgery they got.
I feel so bad for the members when companies do that. It's like you are literally treating them like dolls. It really bothers me.
Exactly. There's another group that there was a company that did something similar where literally they only advertised them as being plastic, having plastic surgery.
The sausage
like
ones,
I feel like there's
right?
a humongous
the sausage girls or something.
I think that's who it is. I feel like there's a humongous difference between a girl or members who get plastic surgery or like choose to versus, and it's like, okay, that's just like their face now, whatever, versus a company that's going around like shouting about it and making that like all that you hear about that group is about that.
So basically, LPG's company paved the way for Six Bombs becoming prettier.
Six Bomb, there we are. I completely forgot their name.
Yes, I was like, I know this group. I like shitty K-pop girl groups that releases like 2 songs and then disappears.
Oh.
Like Kiss 5.
Yes.
Except Kiss 5 is totally... The Kiss 5 was another group where it's like, these people are really talented. Where you guys, like I'm kind of said that all you sold them on was like the sexiness. They were good. They had good stage presence too. LPG and them. LPG, there was one live show I saw of them where they were clearly like it wasn't like a very nice venue, but they were still like performing like their hearts out. I kind of wish that there was more appreciation, which I know that that's a thing with groups from smaller companies, that they don't get like as many resources. But sometimes we've seen many very short-lived small company groups who clearly are very like awkward with performing and like don't know what they're doing and they just want to leave.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like LPG does not fit in that category.
I remember seeing, I think it was a girl group called Laisha or Sasha Fly or something along those lines, where there was one member who was really into being all that sexy whatever, and then the 3 other girls were just incredibly awkward, did not want to be there, and I felt so bad for them. But
I think I know who you're talking about. Was it the group that had the whole thing where producers had put like it was like one producer who got in trouble had put like recording equipment like in their like changing rooms and didn't tell them? Is that who you're talking about?
Probably.
I remember that.
I wouldn't remember
be,
that where it's like, yeah, we're a sexy group, but that's over the line.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's like there's a difference between doing it on purpose on stage and like that's your act versus invading their privacy. It's like, well, it's the same thing you were on stage. Well, that's not the same. One was, I'm doing this and I'm committed to it and I'm very well aware. The other one is not.
Yeah, we're getting off topic here.
We are.
GR, please rescue us. Maybe with a fire truck?
Okay, my first pick is Fire Truck by NCT 127. There are a lot of reasons why this song is unpopular, and it's weird. I agree, it's weird. The styling is a hot mess. The song is not necessarily nice to listen to, which sounds like a knock at it, but it's not. And I just remember them being clowned for this release like it was nobody's business. It was just constant. And I understand to an extent why people don't like it, but I've loved it since it was released. So I'm not going to sit here and act like it's not one of my favorites from them, because it's definitely up there as far as title tracks. And I will say it's not their best title track, But the hate it gets is really funny to me, mostly because a lot of what people don't like about it is valid, in my opinion. Like, this is one of those songs that's like, you hate it, I understand, but I like it, so you know what? Just keep your opinion. I'm gonna keep mine. Just because I say that their dislike for it is valid, I don't mean to, like, condone going out and bashing a group if you don't like their song or if you think their song is bad. But from musical and aesthetic angles, I can understand where the dislike comes from. And I feel like because it was their debut, it did not help the matter. And I wouldn't say it's representative of the group either, which rarely happens with a debut track, but at the same time, this was just so out there that I think people just looked at it and immediately walked out the door. They were like, nope, not this, not today. And the funny thing is, people still say they hate it to this day. I found a tweet from a few days ago with someone saying how much they hated it still, and it has been out for 4 years now. So, I mean, there's that. But side note, I almost went with Kick It, the song that they recently-ish came out with, because it's easily one of my favorite releases from this year, and I really liked it a lot. But everybody loves it all of a sudden, which is good, but I don't know when it happened, because when it came out, all I saw was people hating on it. I did not see probably a single comment on any platform saying that they liked the song. And then, when I went to do research for this episode, everybody's saying they loved it. Half the industry has covered the song. So, I love Kick It, and apparently everybody does too, so that's great. But I was shocked that there was such a turnaround in that. But back to Fire Truck. I like it because it's really hype, the backing beat is great, the raps are really fun. I am obsessed with the bridge where Haechan and Tae, I don't think they sing together, I think they sing after each other, but it's just so pretty. I love their voices. They have really great voices. And then near the end, they start saying Sobangcha instead of Fire Truck. Absolute gold. I love it. Also, the performance is really intense. It's not super pretty and it's kind of weird, but they literally send Win-Win over a person. Like, they pick him up and they, like, throw him over a member. It's a very intense performance. I suggest you watch it, if not for the song, just for the choreography. The styling is garbage and the hair is garbage, and I will not defend their hair. But not every single outfit is bad. There are a few that can pass as not being horrible. I love it. If you hate it, good for you. That's all I have to say.
But with that, though, it makes me think, though, if people... Because I remember Fire Truck being hated on, too, and Kick It being hated. So I remember going through with you earlier this week and trying to find those hate comments that we both remember. A shared awful memory we both have. And we couldn't find it.
It's incredible.
And I remember I didn't really like it either. But then I think there's some groups where it's like, you hear, like, oh, a new release, and you're like, well, this is trash. But then, like, you go back to it, like, a couple years later, or, like, there's certain songs, like, EXO is one of those where I listened to all their music, but I didn't really care or anything like that. But then this past year, I've gone back through their whole discography I already knew of, but now I feel like I kind of understand the group more and, like, what they're kind of going for. And it's like, oh, I like this song and this song and this song, so maybe it's people who are like, you know what, I like their current stuff, let me go back and listen. Because I'm that way with a lot of groups where I don't like stuff at the time. It's just, I'm like, well, this was awful.
Yeah.
But then I'll go back a couple years later and I'm like, oh, that's fine. Or like Mirotic, that was the one who, like, I remember when it came out and I hated it.
I feel like NCT is the current frontrunner as far as groups go with songs like that. Because the past 2 years, I haven't really... Like, after Regular came out, I didn't like Regular very much, and then subsequent releases came out, and I didn't like it very much, and then Kick It came out, and I was like, finally, I have something that I like again. This year has been great for me, and groups that I fell out of love with, and then they came back this year, and they released stuff that I'm obsessed with. So, as far as that goes, I'm happy.
Back to Fire Truck and Kick It, because I probably heard Regular and then just erased it from my brain. I also didn't like Fire Truck when it came out. I didn't have anything specifically against it, it just wasn't my style at the time. For Kick It, I don't know, I appreciated the sound of it, just because it sounded kind of like, it just reminded me of Don't Don. by Super Junior. That was the only thing I thought of when I heard it, but it didn't really stick with me until I heard the Valentino Khan remix, because SM is trying to push their sub-label Scream Records, which is like a EDM, dance, electro, whatever label. They're trying hard to push it, so they've been like releasing just remixes by their Scream Record artists. So when I heard the Kick It official remix, I was like, whoa, this sounds so good. And then I started looking at it. I also like the original version of it, but I got a bit tired of it just because I saw so many dance covers of it at some point, because it was just very suddenly a lot of people that I followed covered it at the same time, and I was like,
see, there was an influx. I don't know what happened. Something happened. Everybody loved it all of a sudden.
yeah, like, I don't know, Kick It just gave me those, like, early 2000s boy group trying to be badass by using rock influences in their songs. I couldn't find the specific song, but there was, like, you have a triangle, but in my brain, I'm like, it's either an HOT song or a Soteji song that it reminds me of, but I can't place which song it is, and it bugs the hell out of me, because I'm like, there is a song, and it's fucking old, and I can't remember which song it is. But Danton is pretty close.
It could be either group. Like, you could be thinking of Get It Up by HOT, or you could be thinking of something Soteji and Boys did.
Yeah,
Because they both went through a rock phase.
Yeah.
So, with, like, I know what you're talking about, the sound of it. So, that's kind of hard to place.
It is,
Could
but
be
it is
both.
like that sound. I'm glad I'm not the only one here, but it's like, there's the sound. I can't place it. But yeah.
But now But I can't believe, though, of the two, like, Fire Truck and Kick It, neither of them were produced by Yoo Young-jin. But you still hear, like, the similarity. It's like, maybe his influence has spread.
It also helps that the late 90s and early 2000s is really back in fashion right now.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the early 2000s is so back in fashion, so hopefully I'm waiting for the anime hairstyles. That was big in the early 2000s.
I know, I'm waiting for that, too. We passed the mullets, so...
Thank goodness.
If you think... So if you're trying to think of, like, fashion history on the trajectory, we should be getting back into that very soon. Very soon.
So, Min, what's your first song that you love that the general public hates?
Sure. I feel like it might be a meme by now, but Twice's Knock Knock and Signal, they both were pretty much badly received. It's like both songs performed very well, because it's Twice. Of course it's gonna do well. But like internationally, I don't know for Korean fans, but I've seen so many international fans being like, no, this is not it, dudes. We don't like this. Because Knock Knock was like a bit too different, but still very generic and forgettable. And then Signal came up, and Signal was just confusing, and it's cute. And people thought both were just a hot mess, which I did not agree with, because I love them both. I enjoy cute concepts. I love Twice's version of cute. I don't know, they just have a happy cute in these two songs. Knock Knock might be like a bit too cutesy, but I still, like, in my deep brain space, I still sometimes just go, knock, knock, knock on my door. Out of nowhere, in my everyday, I'm just like, yes, knocking on doors. Even though I don't.
That's so cute.
It is ingrained into my spine, I guess. Same with Signal. Signal is it's just catchy and cute, which I think is why people don't like it. I don't know. It's just too cute, I guess.
Yeah.
Or too forgettable. That's fair. I don't know.
I mean, that, and it was
just be music.
Yeah. But it was so popular to hate on Twice for such a long time, too. So when something weird like Signal comes out, people are like, haha, now we have something to actually hate on them for. Because Signal was weird, I'm not gonna lie. And I mean, even today people still hate on Twice for absolutely no reason. But yeah, I don't see anything to hate in these songs unless they are not your style, which is fine. But outside of that, it's like, why do you not like them? They're really well done, the music and the video. And I felt like they were on brand for Twice, given their previous releases up to that point.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, if you're gonna hate on a Twice song, title track at least, go for Yes or Yes, just because it's a bit dodgy.
Yeah.
Only giving a dude the choice of Yes or Yes.
Or TT.
But, like...
I like TT, though.
In honor of Ham, you must.
The TT dance.
Old joke.
Very old.
Ham did not deserve the hate they got for that. Only for Twice to later do something similar and get away with it. That's not fair.
Twice didn't incorporate rock into it, though. So...
I know. That's what makes me so frustrated. Also, I love their outfits.
Yes.
Ham deserved better.
They did.
But with Twice, though, I feel like it's especially big with foreign fans to hate on them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like foreign fans are big on, like, hyping up Blackpink. And I feel like they don't like Red Velvet or Twice as much because they can go for, like, the cuter concepts. I feel like a lot of foreign fans are like, if it's cute, there's something wrong with it. Especially when it comes from, like, an older girl group. Like, if it's not femme fatale, there's something wrong. Or they can't like it.
I feel like, in general, outside of Asian culture, in Western culture at least, being cute, acting cute past a certain age is looked down on. And so, when you see a 25-year-old woman doing aegyo or something like that, you're like, is she a child? Like, why? I think it's just the mindset that a lot of people go into, and they have to break that in order to enjoy cute concepts. Because even I have felt myself fall under that at times, where I was like, oh my goodness. Like, even with men, like, I cannot watch aegyo still with a straight face. Like, I feel myself kind of like shrivel up inside a little bit. But it's just, we're not used to seeing people openly act like that. And so when it's so rampant in the music industry and, like, in variety shows, I think people are just kind of like, whoa, wait, this is weird. I don't know how to respond. And then they do respond with hate. So, I don't know.
But also, like, when I was in Korea, there's different types of cute.
Mm-hmm.
There is little kid cute. There is the aegyo cute. But then also, like, you can be an adult and be cute. Like, there's different, like, kinds of cute that are appropriate for different people, I feel like. And I feel like people are, especially with Twice, are stereotyping them for one type of cute. It's like, okay, that's where you end.
Yeah. Let's jump back to you, Onyx. Do you have any other songs to talk about that might be less adorable?
Yes. I want to talk about Faye's 2016 song, Fantasy. It's very unpopular because besides the fact that it was very sexual, which was kind of a very big deal breaker for a lot of fans, because when she was with Miss A, they were known for being a strong, independent woman kind of group. Instead, this solo song was her basically being a man's fantasy. So that's where a lot of people were upset. However, the main reason why this was unpopular was because of politics. Basically, China was trying to claim some islands as their own that were in the South China Sea, and the rest of East Asia, primarily Korea, Vietnam, and the Philippines, weren't happy about that. Some Chinese K-pop idols posted images on their social media in support of China, including EXO's Lay and Super Junior M's Jomi. And while Jomi did get hit because he also came out with a single at that time, I feel like Faye got the brunt of it because she was just releasing Fantasy as her solo debut track. So a lot of people funneled their anger over politics and China's position to this song. Like, I feel like this got a lot more hate than the actual politicians involved, just because in the end, this track kind of became synonymous with politics. Even to this day, when people are thinking about this track, they more have an issue with politics and think about it because of politics in China instead of the sexiness. And the like-to-dislike ratio on this vid is, thankfully, it's very different than how it used to be. Like, it was very heavily swinging one way. Now it's more kind of being more even, not as negative. But the reason why I like it, putting aside the politics, because I didn't hear the song until a couple years after that. So I totally missed this whole thing. The reason why I kind of liked it was that there's a lot of basically puppy love in K-pop, where a lot of the lyrics are like, ooh, I want to date somebody, or ooh, something bad's going on. Like, kind of like, to be fair, majority of the target audience is like in middle school and high school, so that makes sense. But in my opinion, this is one of the few times where there's a song that has lyrics that are meant for an older audience, because it's more about a current and mature relationship, about a partner expressing their trust for the other person, and they're wanting to hear what they want, and they repeat over and over that it's okay to be honest and say something that's been their fantasy for a while. And she was primarily known for being a dancer when she was in Miss A, but I kind of liked her voice in this because I like how the track is mellow. So I like to add it into playlists of tracks that I have on in the background when I'm working on something or playing video games, because it's very chill. Like, I know it was supposed to be very sexy, but instead it's very like calm. It's like, and like she keeps repeating, it's okay, you can come to me, you can say these things. So I like it because it's very different from what we hear of a lot of like romantic tracks. Because I get burnt on cutesy, but it's not cutesy, but it's not like girl crush. It's just, to me, it had a very different vibe. It felt more mature, like, once again, for like a committed older audience. And I really like that because we rarely see that in K-pop.
Yeah, I think like just sound wise, this song in a way was never meant to be like the show winning song, because it's just not that kind of a song. The sound of it is so far out from what quote unquote regular K-pop sounds like, but I personally love it. I followed Miss A pretty intensely back in the day, and I remember when the song came out and I just didn't like it because I was not into the chill vibes back then. But as I re-listen to it now, I really, really do enjoy it. I still don't really like the dance. Parts of it feels a bit awkward, but that is just me. But it's still a very good dance, and I think it's more that her shorts looks like underwear. Might just be underwear. Yeah. I think that might be it. But the song is really good to add to any playlist that is chill, but not like sleepy chill vibes, but like I'm doing stuff chill vibes. That's like, this is the perfect song for that, which probably also makes it a bit forgettable in a way. To me, I forget how the song sounds after the song is over, but I have that with a lot of chill music that I just listen to in the background, so it's like, it's perfect for that, but not really good for like, I'm gonna get a triple crown type song. But I still like it. I don't know if that came out right, but I do like it. I like her. Has she done anything since?
She probably has, but the thing that with me was that it's like, yeah, it's not like the best song in the world, not the best solo release, but the amount of hatred directed towards this because of politics.
Yeah.
Was what I think also really makes it where like the public dislikes it, where she could have released the best song in the world and it still would have gotten bombed because of the politics. Like, I feel like it didn't matter what she released. It was just the timing.
Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of that even outside of her release during that time. There was a lot of issues with Chinese members specifically. And I mean, Lay didn't come back to EXO for... he made like a cameo in Don't Mess Up My Tempo, and he still hasn't really been back in the group because of all the stuff with that. So it's unfortunate that it has such a heavy bearing on something that feels like it shouldn't. You know, like, music it's not unimportant, but to have politics messing up a debut, it sounds like, don't you guys have something better to do? You know? I don't know. It's unfortunate. And her voice is really pretty, but...
I feel like a lot of people also direct a lot more hate to idols than they do to actual politicians who are doing this stuff, because A, they know who the idols are, and I feel like it's much easier to contact them than like people in office and like bug them.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, once again, I know that this isn't the best track in the world, but the fact that it is so overwhelmingly hated, mainly due to politics and like some side, oh, we hate sexual stuff, and we expected something different from a former group member, that just kind of makes me go, I like this track. Don't like the stuff around it. But I can separate the two because they were separate in the first place. Like when JYP was putting this track together, I guarantee you he wasn't thinking, okay, how can I tick off Korea? Through my Chinese idol. I don't think he has those thoughts. JYP did produce this track, by the way. Which, say what you will about him. Once again, I don't think his goal when he was making this was, how can I turn this into an international issue? I don't think that with politics.
If you haven't heard the song, you should definitely go listen to it because it's just so chill and nice. I love it. That's all I had to say.
Okay, let's move to something less serious, GR.
So my second pick is We Like by Pristin, and people did not like this song very much at all. They thought it sounded messy and kind of like mashed together, and it was also their second release, and later we would find out their final release. So I think people were expecting more from it, especially since their debut song was good, but again, that one didn't live up to people's expectations either, really. The biggest issue, in my opinion, I think, was that Pristin was kind of marketed as the female version of 17. Both groups were from Pledis, and they were both dubbed as self-producing idols. We Like and We Woo were both at least partially written by the girls. So there was a disconnect here with people comparing and contrasting the two, because Pristin's music was not up to par with 17's. And I think that's the fault of the company in the end. Because they either purposely chose low-hanging fruit in generic and lackluster songs, or the girls were just not prepared to release the things they were writing. And the company should have been able to gauge that and be like, well, this song isn't ready to be released. This song could have some work on it, etc., etc. But that being said, I think We Like is so catchy, and the video is so much fun. They're just kind of like hanging out in a mall after hours and hiding from the security guard and stuff like that. And like, I can see the mess argument, but I feel like the more you listen to the song, the more it makes sense. The pre-choruses are probably my favorite part, but honestly, as annoying as the actual chorus is, and I say annoying with quote marks around it because I think it's really catchy, it will get stuck in your head forever. But yeah, I love this song. It's one of my favorites. But yeah, at the end of it, Pristin, there was so much wasted potential with Pristin, and especially since Pristin V's Get It was so good. Pristin V was their subunit that came out like a year after We Like's release, and people were waiting for Pristin to have a comeback, and nothing was coming. So yeah, finally Pristin V comes out with a really good song, and to go off what I was saying earlier, they did not write this subunit song, and I feel like that almost backs up my point with their music not being finished in a sense. Like, this one feels like it's done and finished and polished, and that was something that their title tracks were missing. I don't know if that really makes sense. I'm just salty. Like, the end of the group and everything that happened with that.
I really like the chorus of We Like. It's super catchy. All of the verses just fades out into nothingness to me, but the chorus is so catchy. Like, I don't think I'd actually heard the entirety of the song before preparing for this episode, but I'd seen so many covers of it, of like the dance for the chorus, and I'm like, I love it so much. Never planned on learning it, but I do know parts of it just by watching so many people cover it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing. The choreography was really simple, in my opinion, which was kind of surprising.
But it fits so well, though.
Yeah, I agree.
The thing that I didn't like was that Pledis saw this and then just went subunit and then done.
Yeah.
I feel like this was the track where, like, Pledis really gave up with them. Considering what they just came off of, you would have thought that being, like, so big deal from Produce that they would have been like, okay, let's really, cash in on it and let's, let's invest in these girls. And I feel like, yes, they kind of let them do, like, their own thing for, like, Wee Woo and this, but then I feel like they were like, okay, we are not getting the returns and the appreciation we were expecting. We're gonna try one more thing, then we're done. Like, they really just kind of gave up very quickly.
Yeah.
Which that is a true hallmark of them.
Yeah.
with girl groups.
Because, like, After School was their last girl group. So to have Pristin come out in, what was it, 2017? At the end of it, I think they debuted. Is like, what are you guys doing? Why?
And also how they treated After School, which was their flagship group. Especially because, like, there's been stuff over the years that, like, the girls have said about, like, payment and treatment from the company. It's, like, in my opinion, like, that's a group that, like, people still talk about After School and, like, each individual member and just...
Yeah. I think Nana is the only member of After School, right? That's what we... Yeah, she's the only member that stayed.
She's the only one who resigned.
And I mean, I don't blame her because she has probably had the most benefit from being at Pledis, so it makes sense that she stayed with them. But I think it also tells you something when a group that big only ends up with one member still at the company.
Unless she's gonna be like Kangta and make moves.
Yeah. Min, how about you?
I will never shut up about Stray Kids' side effects, I guess. I'm pretty sure I've talked about it before, but I really like this song. But a lot of people really dislike it because it's really not structured like a normal K-pop song. I've seen a lot of people say it gives them headaches when they listen to it because you have the really, I wouldn't say mellow, but like almost edgy piano sounds, and then the chorus / dance part comes in and just beats the piano to pieces and throws it out until they come in with a new piano to do it all again. It seems like. So it's very much a song that is not for everybody. But, as I said, I love it. Because when I was a gross teenager, like any 14-year-old is, I loved industrial music, like gothic, graver, industrial dance music. And the dancey parts of Side Effects gives me so intense XRX vibes, mainly their Stage 2 album, the opening songs, like the 2 opening songs to the Stage 2 album, mixed with like Grendel vibes, like 2007 Harsh Generation vibes, which for most of you, that's not gonna make sense, but both of these artists have changed their sound quite a bit, so it's like 2007 to 2010, like industrial dance space was my jam back in the day. And yeah, it might be kind of weird, but a lot of Stray Kids songs just gives me flashbacks to when I was a teenager, and I'm not sure if I fully appreciate that. It gives me feelings, and I'm not sure if I like it, but I do enjoy a bit of their title tracks. I won't call myself a super fan of them, because I've not actually sat down and listened to their entire albums, but I do like some of their title tracks. It's good. Listen to noisy music, everybody. That's my takeaway.
Yeah. I remember not liking this when it came out, but then listening to it again, it's not as bad as I remember making it out to be. It does sound like 2 different songs put together, but I'm not against that at all, so I don't know why I remember listening to it and being like, nope, this is not for me. But, I mean, Stray Kids is kind of hit or miss for me in general, so I don't know. I really loved God's Menu. That's one of my favorite songs of this year. But
yeah,
they're a lot more experimental than a lot of the groups out there right now.
Yeah.
This was actually the track that got me kind of interested in Stray Kids, because I didn't like Elevator. I didn't care about any of their stuff. But Side Effects was very different from anything else that was coming out. And then also, like, hearing Felix's voice. His voice is not common in K-pop. So that interested me, and then I gave Miro a chance, and I really like Miro and Chronosaurus, because I would not have given him a chance without Side Effects, so gotta put credit where credit is due.
Also, the dance to Side Effects, it works with so many people, but the second piano part where they basically throw a member into the air, and it's like raindrops falling, but there's just the members falling. It's so insane. I love looking at it. The dance is not a dance that works for a solo. It just doesn't. You need all the members and all the backup dancers for this particular dance to work, but it's so cool to watch dance performances of it.
Mm-hmm.
So you should YouTube that if you haven't seen it. Shall we move on to our last picks?
Yeah.
For the episode? Onyx, shoot! cute.
Compared to my last pick, this one is a lot more lighthearted. So I'd like to talk about how hated Vix's debut track, Superhero, was. It came out in 2012, so that was in the year of the big boy band debut. That's not the correct wording for that, but you get the idea. Compared to Warrior, compared to History / Mama, compared to Face, compared to literally everything else that came out this year, this sounded very generic. And people did not care about this debut, even though they had a debut show. And it didn't help that their live performances of this at the time were not great either. However, it's not so much unpopular with general people as it is with Vix themselves, because they are very outspoken with how much they hate this track and how cringy they think this whole thing is. And there are quite a few fans of K-pop who think On and On is their debut track.
Oh my goodness.
Because Vix have done such a great job of pretending like this doesn't exist.
That's hilarious.
Like, they pretend this and Rock Your Body don't exist. They're like, we didn't do anything before 2013. Yeah, we debuted, but you can't prove what we did. So I would just like to bring this cringe to the light of day, because personally, I like it. I know Vix doesn't, but I love the styling. I love Leo's look especially, because I'm one of those weirdos that enjoys see-through shirts on guys when it's done right like this, where he was very kind of built up. And also, I'm fascinated by Hongbin's long hair. And also, the MV looks like it was shot inside of, like, a fun house.
Yeah.
Like a carnival. But then, like, they actually got to, like, walk through it. Also, the track is super catchy and fun. I actually didn't know that this track existed until I saw a lot of hardcore Vix fans including this song in memes. That's how I found out about it. But I always have this track included in workout playlists, especially with running, because it's got a very consistent pace. So I love this very much, even though Vix themselves hate it. So not as much unpopular with the public, like the public just doesn't care, but Vix downright hates it. So somehow that makes me love it. Because I'm awful. I'm a bad fan. There's certain things that, like, groups hate that I'm very interested in. Like, HOT hates their acting days, but I love how cringe they are. I don't usually like cringe, but there's certain types of cringe that are just so funny to where I enjoy it. This is one of those where I don't care that I like the group, but I'm ignoring their opinion on it.
Yeah, this song is iconic, and they just hate happiness. Because it's just so fun. And that pink spinning background, I love it. It's so 2012. Yeah. I don't know. The whole thing, it's really nostalgic almost in a way looking at it now. I also miss Rovix, and all these idols that came from that time, they all dropped their mascots, and it really hurts me because I love them all. And I wish they kept them.
They mention, like, Agent, like, N or something like that. Like, they still do some things. Like, they mention Rovix, but the iconography with it does not exist anymore. That's the hard part for me.
It's very sad.
I appreciated how pink this music video is.
Yeah, there's a lot of pink.
Pink in 2012 was a thing for guys.
Yeah, Newest too.
There was also in Newest.
Yeah.
I was gonna
Hot
say
pink is their color.
In Face when there's the guy with the pink pants. DMT back in 2009 had a member that wore pink pants for So Pretty, and just seeing that come back in the 2012s was like, yes. But do you know what is also a yes? JR's last pick.
So my final pick is Pray by FT Island. And this is kind of more of like I don't know how to put this, because it's not that the song itself did poorly, because the album actually debuted at #1 on the Gaon chart. But the thing is, this point forward, the group decided to make the music that they wanted to make, meaning they stepped away from their pop rock sound that made them really popular and into a harder rock genre for a little bit. And I think it was on like Night Goblin, a variety show that aired back in like 2017, 2018. Hongi was a regular on that, and he was joking about how he no longer makes public friendly music, so he has to go on variety shows in order to make money. And I'm sure it's exactly something he would say. But like I'm sure he was mostly joking, but it's not shocking that their music during that time didn't appeal to everyone anymore because it was a lot quote unquote harder than the pop rock they previously released. And I loved it because I love rock music. I listen to a lot of classic rock and also alternative and punk rock. So it was cool to see that in K-pop. And I came into the K-pop world in 2015 when their album I Will, they had just came out and Pray was obviously the title track off of that. And FT Island was immediately one of the first groups that I really loved because of that. And I had kind of known their stuff like I Hope and Severely, which is still fantastic to this day and I love so much. But their heavier rock stuff is some of my favorites. And it's not like they completely abandoned their old sound either. Their 10th anniversary release, Wind, and their most recent release, Quit, are a lot more ballady. And even Summer Night's Dream, which came out in 2018, was quite poppy. They kind of have evolved to a point where they just make whatever they want. And I love that because I feel like if you're not making something you love, it can still be really good. And the stuff they came out with before was really good, but being able to make what you love really changes the way that I think fans view it as well as the people making it view it, if that makes sense. But yeah, that being said, are you guys FT Island or CN Blue people? I seem in that you have not listened to FT Island before. Have you listened to CN Blue?
I listened to both.
Oh, wait.
And I remember not liking either of them.
Oh my gosh.
I know Pray was the song that really got me to be like, oh, FT Island can make good songs, but like, when I first heard them both, they both made really kind of boring songs for a while, that I was just like, I need more energy, so they have made a lot better songs than whatever I listened to when I first heard them, but it's just that first impression that I got of both of them being relatively boring.
Okay.
Which is so wrong, but it's still just so ingrained in me that I have to do something to actually change that, because I am certain not all of their music is boring. I don't know, ballads.
I mean, because yeah, not everything they release are ballads.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure the first songs I heard of both of them were ballads, and then I just immediately was like, oh, these people just make ballads, I'm not interested, and I'm like...
That's so funny.
But they have good songs, like Pray is a really good song, so it's like, ah.
Yeah.
But I am completely neutral in the fight between the groups.
I don't think there's necessarily a fight, it's just they come from the same company, and they debuted fairly close to each other within 2 years, I believe. 2007 and 2009, if I'm right. FT Island came first. And there was an episode of Weekly Idol when I don't think it was both groups on. It might have just been CN Blue, but there was kind of like a little thing between Yonghwa and one of the staff where he was like, you must be an FT Island fan, aren't you? And she was just straight up like, yeah, I am. Like, what do you... do you think I'm gonna lie to you because you're in front of me? But yeah, I just thought it was funny. For the most part, I like both, but I do favor FT Island, for sure.
Fair.
I like both groups, but with FT Island trying to put out stuff that they enjoy, it really just reminds me of how many times idols have tried to get into rock and their fans go, why? Like, especially like when they go from like pop to rock, a lot of fans are like, how dare you? Like, that always gets to me whenever like an idol for years has been saying, hey, I enjoy this type of music, I would like to do that someday, and fans are like, cool, but then they actually do it and fans have a meltdown. They're like, we didn't think you would actually do it. But there are quite a few idols who fans have like full-on meltdowns and like are become anti-fans because of it, and I just... get over yourself. Seriously. If them going into a different genre of music is like the worst thing they've done, and that is the thing that like the hill you're gonna die on, like, you've got problems.
Yeah. And I'm not really sure how Prima Donna's reacted. I think for the most part FT Island has a pretty strong fan base. But yeah, I think it was mostly just the general public that was kind of like, okay, sure.
Well, then again, think about like rock music, the history of rock music in Korea. If it it started technically in the 50s, but then the 60s was the actual first rock band, and the first heavy metal rock band came in the 1980s, because the dude who made the first rock band, his son made the heavy metal band, who later had a member who was Sotaeji, who went on to become Sotaeji and Boys. And I feel like Korea's always had a hate relationship with rock music, but so many amazing artists have come from it, or like gone into it, and they just don't accept it.
But I do wonder if, because after I believe Take Me Now, no, was it Take Me Now, their next title track? Their next album again had a rock title track, and then they stopped doing the rock because Midsummer Night's Dream came out. And I'm wondering if it was like, well, these last two were fun, but we gotta kind of like get people back on our side type thing. Again, like, I love FT Island, but I'm not very active in the fandom or anything like that, so I don't know how people reacted. Mostly because they're an older group, and there's not a lot of fans my age, necessarily, left around, at least internationally. I'm sure they still have a great Korean, like, fan base, but I don't see people talk about them often online. Min, why don't you tell us the last pick of the day for you and for the episode?
Yeah. My last one is another cute one with IOI's Very, Very, Very. And I think the reason why the song was relatively unpopular in some circles is because it was also very popular. It's very cute, it's very repetitive. And Produce 101 had a lot of fans, but a lot of the IOI fans were kind of annoying at one point. And that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. So this is the only song I've ever experienced in real life that somebody has been like, oh, you know the dance to this song? I don't want to be associated with you anymore. Is basically what has happened. And I was like, I haven't seen Produce 101. It's been on my, I'm probably gonna watch this at some point, and then just never watched it. And Very, Very, Very is the only song that I've really been like, oh, this is my jam, because it's just so painfully catchy. Like, it will get stuck in your head no matter what you do. Doesn't matter if you absolutely loathe the song, it will get stuck in your head. And that's why I love it. But yeah, I personally think the reason why many people dislike it is some odd mixture of a kind of tiresome fan base, and it's just cute. And we have previously talked about this, about cute songs not being the most well received by international people. But still, I like it. I still like to dance. I still do it whenever I have the opportunity to dance it.
Yeah, it's really cute. And the styling is so pretty. All of the hair is just, I like all of it. It was great, in my opinion. And the makeup was pretty too. Like, all the little freckles. It was cute. But I could see how it could get old fast because of all the repetition. But otherwise, like, the song's good. Like, I don't know. Yeah, it just comes back to international fans and their complete hatred of cute concepts, I feel like. But it's a good song otherwise, I think.
Yeah.
I like the music video where like stuff's falling down the hallway.
Yes.
That I think is really interesting. Like, that was the thing that I walked away with, was just like thinking, like, how did they film that? Like, I assumed that there was like some stuff that was like being like rewound, but it was still pretty cool visually to see that. So that was very, very cute, and that list was very, very short, because there are many more tracks that the public hate that we personally like. And we assume that you have your favorites too. Maybe you heard this and you thought, why would anyone hate that track? That's silly. Or maybe you heard the reasons and you thought, well, that's stupid. We agree with you. But there are many more out there. And we recommend that you go and look either at the tracks that we recommended, or look at our doc where we have some more. There were some that that Min and I added. They were like, we think it's dumb that people hate this. So you should probably check that out.
And just listen to the music you like. Music is music. Don't you care about what other people think about it. Listen to the things that make you happy, okay?
Generally speaking, pop music is for fun. Don't get too upset over it. Just enjoy music. Speaking of which, let's hear the song of the day.
Today, November 29th, 2012, Humming Urban Stereo released their fourth album, Sparkle, with the title track Love Jam. This is an indie band, and this song actually features the group Bebop, which I absolutely love. They were a very short-lived girl group. Bebop actually does feature on a couple of other Humming Urban Stereo songs, but that's beside the point. Love Jam is really, really cute. It's just cute in a indie pop rock way. Like, the music video is basically just a girl running in slow motion, like an anime girl who is late for school through the entire music video, and it's great. But yeah, if you need something upbeat and cute, go check out Humming Urban Stereo's Love Jam. So let's jump over to some trivia.
So this trivia is going to be a bit different because this is kind of a bonus episode for November. So the answer is going to come in this episode. This is more to mess with Min and JR than to sort of test the listener. Many people know that Rain, or B, is a solo artist and an actor. But did you know that he debuted before he joined JYP Entertainment? So my question is, what did he do?
When I first got into Rain, I thought his name was actually by Rain, as in to Rain.
Oh, that's funny.
It took me so long to realize that that was not his name. Wasn't he a part of some like weirdly short-lived group that I cannot remember the name of for the life of me? My head tells me that it's something family, but I think that is incredibly wrong. I don't know. I think he was a part of a very short-lived, like, either boy group or co-ed group. I think it was a boy group. I don't know what Rain did.
Give me a guess. Min thinks he was in a short-lived group. What do you think?
I don't know. I thought you said he was in a group too a while back. I don't remember what the name of it was either.
Okay, you were both correct. He was in a short-lived group, so they only had 2 albums. The group name was called Fan Club.
That was it! That was something annoying. I remember the name being dumb. Fan Club is a ridiculously bad name. I hate that name.
Okay,
Excuse my
but
outburst.
it doesn't end there. So first of all, that name kind of reminds me of like the group K-pop.
Yeah.
How it's literally called K-pop. Yeah, kind of in the same vein. But the group name is not where the ridiculousness ends. No. So this whole question came about because I mentioned something to JR and I'm like, okay, I have to keep up with this. One of their tracks, I believe this might have even been their debut track, in their first album, because they debuted in 1998. Basically, I don't think that this was their debut song, but they had a track that was a cover of a track that came out the previous year. You may have heard of it. It was... Sorry. It's so absurd. It was a cover of Chumbawamba's...
What?
Something. I'm not kidding. The song I Get Up, I Get Knocked Down Again. But that's not the lyrics. And the song is called like Dreaming or something like that. It's called Como Charaso. And you need to hear it.
Is this legal? Did
the
they buy
instrumental
it?
is absolutely that. Keep in mind that copyrighted music and plagiarism were very different in that time period than it is now. It's also very different than US. But it is absolutely Chumbawamba.
That is hilarious.
It's absolutely I get up, I get knocked down again. But it's not the lyrics. But it is just... So, if you want to laugh today, just know that in 1998, Rain was originally in a boy group that was short-lived called Fan Club, and they did a cover of a Chumbawamba song.
The 90s was wild.
That is for sure.
I just needed you to know this.
I'm glad.
And also, he went by his actual name back then, and he was a rapper in there too. But just the fact that he was in that group and they released a song like that, that's probably one of the best trivia I've ever run across in K-pop. Because you would not expect it.
I did not. That is not what I thought you were going to say at all.
Now that I've wrecked everyone's day, let's end this.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, then please make sure to rate, subscribe, follow, and tell your friends about us. If you want to interact with us or just see more of our content, then you can follow us on Twitter at Kpop Sunbaes or on our other social media platforms, which will be in the description. Also, don't forget that our next episode comes out on December 13th, 2020. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Annyeong.